guys, welcome to the HVAC Diaries. This episode of the HVAC Diaries is brought to you by New Calgon. How are you guys? Did you have a good week? This week was a short one. We had Labor Day on Monday, but we still had a pretty decent week of work and a nice variety of work too. We did some HVAC, we did some refrigeration, we had an industrial job, we worked on a cooling tower, a catering truck, a bunch of stuff. Let me tell you all about it. We worked on the cooling tower this week. It seems like most of the times we work on that cooling tower, it's in an emergency. It's a rush, urgent thing, repair to get it up and running again. So this time the float valve snapped, it broke. And so it was just letting water and the water was just running continually. So we luckily grabbed a spare part from a local distributor here. Luckily they had one for us. And so we went in the next morning and we replaced the float itself, like this big bulbous piece of plastic that has air in it, the float, and then the float valve itself, which I thought was really interesting. Trevor showed me how it works, like on the inside. Cool. Where that cooling tower is located has the most stunning view of downtown Vancouver. Look at the view from this roof, you guys. Unfortunately, we're not working here. We're going into that little room there. But how nice is that? And for some reason, when we were working there this time, they had removed one of the panels on the side. So I literally just had to turn my head and I can see this stunning view. It's usually blocked by that panel. But oh my goodness, I could just stand there staring at the view all day long. It was so nice. But it's really tricky working on that cooling tower because, well, we didn't want to drain it because it takes a good hour to refill the machine. And on the day we were doing that, it was pretty warm already. Actually, the guy from the wireless company that works there, they've got their servers in that building. And if that server room goes up by like a single degree, they come running out. They're like, what's going on with the AC? What's going on with the cooling tower, the cooling loop? We need this to be solved right away. And it's like, you guys have gone up 1 degree. We're working on it like as soon as possible. Anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because we did not want to drain the cooling tower because of the time it takes to refill it and then get it back up and running online. So we decided to not drain it and do it like the non-proper way, which is really to go inside the cooling tower where we have proper leverage and everything. Because we were standing, we had our ladder like here, and then there's about a foot of pipe work and just mechanical things before the cooling tower. And you literally have a hole, like it's a round circle where you can put your head and shoulders and body through. But because you're on this ladder about a foot away from it, you always are kind of like teetering on the edge of your edge, if you know what I mean. So the valve that we had to take out, I don't know why I got first stab at it because I'm the weakest of them all. So you kind of get your pipe wrench in there, you get it all situated, and then you got to start like pushing it. But like I said, you're a foot away from the thing. So I'm fully extended on my left arm trying to get some kind of leverage on this thing. It's not happening. So Dad's up next. He gave it a good try, except he did something crazy. He put both of his arms in there, so not only his left but his right as well. And then if you slip or if you like get it going, you're gonna tumble right in there. So I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Anyway, so we had to like hold him back, and we got a piece of unistrut on our largest pipe wrench to get a little bit more leverage, like a massive leverage, but that didn't work. So then we got the torch out and we heated up the valve. That sort of worked, sort of didn't. And then after we almost gave up. We were like, this is it's not happening. Like, what's going on? Trevor's like, let me give it one more go. Let me give it a try. And so he went in there, and I guess after all the work we'd been doing on it, he got it off. And yeah, he was like the hero of the day. He succeeded after all of us. So we're pretty chuffed about that. So once we replaced that float valve and the float and everything on it, made sure it worked, got that guy up and running, that cooling tower. We just did a little check on the other one because there's 2 identical cooling towers up there. Check the float on the other one. It's busted as well. No one realized. So we're going to see about rushing in a new valve for them there, and maybe we'll get it done next week. I'm not sure.
We must affect you, maybe. What's the temperature? That's good.
Looks quite different.
Where does it go? Well, that's part of the water valve, so that'll go in there and it will.
What can I stand on? Can I put my foot on this?
Right?
Can I put my foot in
Oh,
here?
yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks. How this goes.
That's right. Every so often, every come in and just grab it. Nothing?
I don't think I'm strong enough with my left hand. That's the truth.
You got that on camera, right? You're not strong with your left.
We need a much bigger wrench for that connection. So, grabbing this pipe wrench. Yes, that should work.
Up is tight. Yeah. No way, Dad.
Hey, Trev got it. That's amazing.
Huh.
Good job, Trev. It took some mad strength.
Wow. Okay.
Amazing. Good job. And that goes over here. Wow.
Yeah.
Trevor wins He-Man of the day.
That is. Make sure that other side is not good. Right. Lift that up. This arm here, lift that up as opposed, because if you put that out there, that has to be goes off while it's inside. So this arm has to go further down. So this stays in the arm, in the slot, when it switches off. There. Okay, now I lock that in.
So it's basically the R22 unit, but
air dryer, our industrial job, the air dryer at the plastics recycling factory. So we get subcontracted out by the air dryer company. They have their own technicians. They usually go and check out the work and diagnose the machine, but they are not refrigeration mechanics at all. So when they send us to do something, we don't usually trust their diagnosis. And this was the case again. So this time they sent us to replace an LP switch, a low pressure switch that was giving them trouble on this air dryer. The air dryer wouldn't start. The low pressure switch is faulty. Please replace the switch. So we arrived on site and took a look at the air dryer, did our little checks and everything. When we put our refrigerant gauges on, there was zero pressure in there. There was no refrigerant. It had all leaked out. So no wonder the unit wouldn't start on LP. The pressure switch was fine. The system was low on refrigerant. So our system is very low on refrigerant. There are signs of refrigerant oil all over the floor of the unit. So we grab our digital leak detector from Field Piece, we sniff it out, we find the general location. Our leak detector screams in this one area. So we grabbed our new Calgon soap, our Cal Blue soap, and sure enough, we found the leak on the elbow joint on the bottom. Actually, when I put my finger underneath it, I could feel the air coming out of it. And so when we put some soapy bubbles on there, obviously the bubbles formed right away. Nice big bubbles. So we repaired that little crack. What Trevor thinks happened was when the unit was being made at the factory, perhaps they overswedged the fitting, and so over time it's cracked a little bit, and it's fixed now. And we used a little bit of hot block compound. It's like a heat sinking putty, just to protect one of the valves on the compressor from being overheated. So you just kind of pack it right onto it. And then when you're done with it, you can take that putty and put it back in the jar, in the little tub, and you can reuse that putty over and over and over again. And if it happens to dry out over time, you can just add a little bit of water and mix it in, and it'll form a good putty paste again. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, then we vacuumed out the system and then put a proper charge of R407C refrigerant in there. So this is the air dryer we're working on. Trevor's just doing a little initial inspection on arrival. We immediately noticed all of this oil on the bottom of the unit here. It's not a good sign. So we're going to confirm with our refrigerant gauges. The other day we just swapped our lines for some reason, so our high side is on our low side. We need to swap it back. But we are empty. No pressure in our gauge, oil everywhere, we definitely have a leak. So we're going and searching. And obviously the first place we start is the place that is most obvious. We suspect the leak is on that little elbow joint. So we're going to put some soap on there. And I actually could feel it with my finger. Perfect bubbles. Just clean off all that soap and then sand down the fitting. So we've got a clean place to work. And this is the hot block stuff I was telling you about, this heat sinking putty. You literally just pack it on the place that you want to protect. So now that we've brazed that joint, we're just checking it with soap again. And we'll also run the digital leak detector over it after we've put some refrigerant in, just to make sure. But luckily we are all clear here. Nothing. Now we can remove that putty and save it for another time. For our vacuum, we're just going to remove the Schrader core. It gives us a nice fast vacuum. And we charge the system with 407C. I believe this guy takes 53 ounces, if I'm correct. Let's get the Schrader core back in there. In that room we're working in, they've been using a desiccant dryer to make up for the air dryer that's not working, that we're fixing right now. And it lets off this like high pressure every once in a while. So loud. Like every 3 minutes or so, it's just this massive and even though you're expecting it, I jump and scream every single time. But the funny thing is our contact, who works here all the time, he jumps higher than we do. We had a call to one of our catering truck companies that was on a movie set. Oh yeah, they had some really cool HVAC set up there. Check it out. Yeah. So we're just at this movie set working on a catering truck, but I thought these portable or temporary AC units are pretty interesting. There's like full-on HVAC here. How cool is that? I guess that's their like lunch tent or maybe wardrobes. I have no idea. Crazy, eh? Anyway, so back to the catering truck. So they've got a walk-in cooler there. The guy said, just stopped working one morning. Please come and take a look. So we opened it up and we found another burnt potential relay or start relay inside the compressor starting compartment. So I replaced that relay. I had to redo a bunch of the wires because they were just so badly burnt. And then got the thing up and running again. And then once we got it up and running again, we checked everything over and it seemed like our suction pressure was really high for some reason. And on this particular system, they don't have any digital controller or any like thermostat controller. It's controlled by LP, low pressure, which is an interesting way of controlling it. So when it's warm outside, it acts a certain way. And then when it's cold outside, it acts a different way. So I do remember back in winter, we made an adjustment to the TXV to compensate for the cold weather. And so now when we checked everything again, we had to recompensate for the warm weather that we're having right now. So I think it's a matter of time when the weather changes again, when the season changes and we get cooler weather again, we're going to have to go back and readjust the TXV for the weather. We have, though, spoken to them about changing the way that thing is controlled. We want to get that LP switch. Well, the LP switch will stay in there, but we would add some kind of other control, a thermostat or a digital controller or something like that, just for like better control. How many more times can I say control?
It's a whole fucking thing going on. Wires going to the relay are melted to shit.
Oh my. Oh my.
Let's see. Oh, that's about all the wiggle room we get, though.
Yeah, well, if you take it off there.
But this is where we are hindered by.
Oh, you hindered on that. Oh.
Yeah. But that's
Okay,
at
but if
least
you
helpful
can
still.
turn that, what if you lift? Yeah, maybe take that off, lift, pull that up, and then you can turn it.
Wednesday morning, and the plug at the back was just barely hanging.
It's been an ongoing issue for some time now.
Oh, good.
I think so. Easier.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
I
you.
remember they were having issues with, but I think this is obviously not the only, it's part of the problem. It's not the whole problem, it's definitely part of it.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully we change.
Leaning over this thing, like this whole time, working like that. It's not comfortable at all. I need to go to yoga now. Oh, my back. It's gonna be fine.
That'll start going down.
Yeah.
That's coming back nice.
Best guy. Thanks, buddy.
Just gonna check this guy's coil to make sure it's not dirty, but it's so close to the wall that I can't actually get my head in there. So I use my selfie camera mirror. Take a little look. Looks pretty good. Yeah, looks good to me. Also checking the condenser coil. That is pretty clear as well. Yeah, not bad. And of course, you guys know I love using the washrooms on movie sets. Sometimes they're so fancy. This one, yeah, take a look. This porta potty is pretty fancy too. It's got stalls in it. There's 2 loos in this washroom. How cool is that? And what's up with this side? What happened in their bathrooms before that they needed a sign like that? All right, this is my second visit to the bathroom, and I didn't realize this before, but this is an air conditioner. It is so nice and cool in here. Like, talk about luxury. What's happening out here? So we've been having some challenges with this little reach-in freezer at a pizza place. It's an R290 refrigerant freezer, which is basically refrigerant propane. And this is the first R290 freezer that we've worked on. We've worked on a lot of coolers, like a lot. There's a lot of them out there. But this is the first actual freezer that we worked on. And so the initial problem was that the controller was faulty, not sending a signal to the fans to run. So we were having freezing problems. Anyway, that is all confirmed. So we replaced the controller a while ago. But what we didn't realize was this R290 unit has a hot gas defrost. And all of the other freezers that we've been working on, these little reach-in freezers, they've all had electric defrost. So that's not something that we thought of at the time until we really dug into it, because this lady keeps saying that her freezer keeps freezing over, and it doesn't go into a defrost. And she's like, and we're like, no, it must go into a defrost. So we check everything out, and on this digital controller, it's a Dixel universal controller. It can be used in so many applications, and because of that, it has like hundreds of parameters that you can change, hundreds of them. So finally, we figured out that this one tiny little parameter, you had to change it from a 0 to a 1 for hot gas defrost. So now it's defrosting properly. But oh my goodness, it took us like, I don't know, an embarrassingly long time to figure that out. I don't know. Definitely learned a lesson. And so now every time we replace a digital controller on an R290 freezer, we're definitely going to make sure that we have the right defrosting system programmed into it.
So the off cycle probably did enough to,
For like a couple of days, maybe.
like, it would have just been a slow ice build, slow ice build, slow ice build, slow ice build.
But with that hot gas already, you can see.
Doing it every 4 hours, once this is clear.
We worked at our packaging manufacturer factory place this week again. They have a room with one massive HP printing machine. I think I've showed it to you a few times, working on their chiller or their dehumidifiers or stuff in there. This time though, they've changed the ink provider that they've been using, their supplier. So they're using a different type of ink. And this ink gives off a lot of VOCs in the air. Like when you walk into that room, you can smell it. And it's giving the guy that works in that room full time, it's giving him headaches, and it's probably making him a little bit sick. So we replaced all of the filters with carbon filters because we've had them in there before and they're very effective in that room for that application. So we replaced all of the filters with carbon filters. They're so heavy and they're all individually wrapped. Don't know why I'm telling you that. We also made sure that all of the humidifiers were working properly as they should have been because their humidity levels were a little bit off as well. And then we also checked all of the cabinet AC units. So on the actual machine itself, so the machine it takes up a whole room and it's long like this. And along it at different intervals, there's a little AC unit that's kind of attached to the machine, and it keeps all of the like electronics and everything cool as it's working. So we cleaned all of the filters on those because I don't think anyone ever realized that they were even ACs on there, but they're working really hard. So cleaning those helped, the carbon filters helped, humidifying helped. So we're gonna see how that goes for a little while. This filter is branded. How fancy. We did something really strange to me this week. So we've got this customer. He works at this pizza place in like a really old building. The building is kind of falling apart and it's old. And anyway, his complaint, he says that every time it's really warm outside and the unit works really hard, like it's working extra because it's hot outside, he says the condensate that it produces like comes through his ceiling and it just floods his store. It just pours out of the ceiling. And it's not when it rains, it's when it's really hot outside. So what happens is, what we think has happened is the roof has sunk a little bit. And so now the unit, instead of being level, it's a little bit off, it's a little bit not level. And so it's like pooling and draining into his store instead of going out the P-trap and onto the roof. So he was like, I don't have any money to like pay roofers to come. And he's like, the building is not really being helpful, the landlords and everything. He's like, can you see if you can do anything to help me out, like on the cheap, whatever. So we go over there, we took some equipment jacks. We jacked up the unit to where it was level. And then you guys, we literally put a 3/4 copper pipe in the space to hold the unit up just by that much. That's all it really needed. And it's by no means the proper way of doing it. He literally really needs a roofer to do it properly and to waterproof it and everything. But for now, it seems like we've solved his problem. And to be fair, it is the end of summertime, so we've got maybe a handful of warm days left before we go back into cooler weather. So it's not going to be a problem, and probably until next summertime. But it seems like our little jury rig fix has kind of helped him. And I did put it on Instagram. I put it on my Instagram story saying we were doing this really weird thing. And I had a guy in Phoenix, Arizona? Anyway, I don't know. He was like, yeah, we see that a lot actually. The roofs just kind of sink over time. The boards underneath, they kind of get moist and they rot. And then the roof isn't level anymore. So that was the first experience of those that I've ever had to deal with. We're on this hideous roof. It's so gross up here. And we're doing something really, really interesting today. So the complaint on this unit is that the guy downstairs says that whenever it's really warm outside and the AC works a lot, the condensate doesn't come out of here, but it actually goes down into his store downstairs because it seems like the unit is not level. And so that's what we're trying to do for him today, but like really on the cheap. There's proper ways of doing this, and this is not really it.
How do you reverse this?
Nick, level. Maybe a smidge more on your side. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I would say that's lined up now. Okay, well that's it.
Now we check if it's level still. So Trevor and I were just discussing like what kind of happened here. It looks like just the roof may have sunk a little bit for, I don't know, whatever reason. But we were just looking at the other units on this roof, and it seems like all of them have been like leveled out somehow. Like it looks like they've been raised up a little bit. This one as well, all of them really. So I don't know why someone would do that and then just not do this unit. Or maybe it's different to the others. Kind of weird. But anyway, we have improved the situation here, although it's not ideal. It's not the proper way of doing it, but okay, well, we're gonna leave it like that for now. I mean, there's literally like 4 days of warmth left, and then we're gonna go into fall and winter, so this might be a problem next year again, but it looks like for now we've helped. All right, guys, that's all the HVAC adventures I have for you this week. It was a nice little mixed bag. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for my vlog because I literally only have 2 work days. Then I have a travel day to Toronto. I have an event on the Thursday, and then I have a travel day on the Friday to get back home. So it's not going to be much in the way of HVAC vlog. Although we do have a very interesting job to do on Tuesday that I want to tell you about. So who knows what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just do a single job. But I'll probably do a whole vlog about the Modern Hydronic Summit that I'm going to in Toronto. I don't know. Who knows? And by the time you're watching this, it's all going to be over anyway. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye for now. Off to the gym. Oh my goodness. Cool. He was the hero. Oh my goodness, excuse me. He's walking his dog. I'm so embarrassed. For sniff, sniff, sniff. We also saw a lot of... Nah, I want to start that again. Location, our leak detector screams in this one area. Thing was when the so yeah, then we vacuumed the system and charged her up with a proper R134A refrigerant charge. It wasn't 134A. We were told it was 134A and it was actually 407. It was 407. Okay. We had a cool call. We had a cool call. Okay. So back in the day,